Welcome to the Ports Garrison. Please like, subscribe, and share. Thank you.
I don't think he's going to fall down and die, but hey. But no, here comes his wife. And interestingly, and I was very uncomfortable with this, his wife was the deputy speaker of the House. And then when the deputy speaker and the then speaker resigned, even though she claimed she had nothing to hide, and she had issues with the Integrity Commission, which led her to having to resign. And I don't know what the legal proceedings, I haven't heard anything about the legal proceedings against her since. But when she resigned and the Prime Minister's wife was elevated to the seat of the Speaker of the House, I was uncomfortable with it. Because here you have the Prime Minister, and the Speaker of the House is his wife. Now, what I noticed with her is she is using, and the previous speaker did, and I've spoken about this too, they're now using standing orders to deny making certain information available to the public and the Parliament and the public. So, for example, the issue of the illicit sex. From July, I think, it was... Greetings and welcome to the Ports Garrison. I am the host, Phil DePort. If you join in for the first time, I want to thank you. And I implore you to subscribe if you like the content. For my regular viewers, as always, is enough love and enough respect. Now, the video clip you just watched is from a video I did in 2023, December, I think, called Jamaican Anais and Sapphira, Andrew and Juliet Holness. I'll put a link to the video in the description section so you can watch the entire video if you choose. Now, March 19, 2024 will go down in the history of Jamaica and Jamaican politics as the day that Mark Golding announced himself as a fit candidate for the leadership of the country. He came out of his shell and says, look, I am a dog in the fight and I'm ready for the fight. It will also be the day, the first in our history, that the government walked out of its own parliament, preventing the opposition leader from completing his presentation in the budget debate. Never before has it happened. Now, there's been a lot of things said, and the reason for the walkout was because the leader of the opposition mentioned the impropriety of the wife of the Prime Minister, MP in her own right, being the Speaker of the House. It's an issue I faced and I spoke about before and said it didn't sit right with me as well. Now, I can't see for the life of me why this became so upsetting to the Prime Minister that he had to walk out. He didn't attack the Speaker of the House, as some are claiming. See, the leader of the House, the Speaker of the House, has been doing some things, to my mind, that does not sit well with me. Now, during Mark Golding's presentation, he mentioned some of the things. And people are saying all sorts of things. They're saying, hey, the opposition is hypocritical because they second the election or the nomination of Mrs. Holness as the Speaker. Now they can't come and say, hey, they don't support her. Now, here's a couple of things. Traditionally, in the Westminster system, the government gets their choice as to who they want to be the Speaker. And in Jamaica, the way it is now, with the opposition only having 14 of 63 MPs, the government will get its position regardless. A simple vote, and they will get who they want to be the Speaker. So it's traditional that the opposition supports whoever the government chooses. To my mind, I would not have seconded that appointment or that selection. I'd have voiced my opposition to it. But being that as it may, they went ahead and they congratulated her, which is just political expediency, doing the right thing, being politically correct. Now to say, because you endorsed her, now you can't come and say anything about her, it makes no sense to my mind. No sense whatsoever. Now, It's interesting that during this budget presentation, or during the opposition leader's presentation, the Speaker of the House was there for the start of it, but then she handed over to her deputy. And I'm wondering, did they smell the rat, or did they read the presentation before and say, look, I don't want to be here when this is going down? It would be interesting to me to see how she would have dealt with this when the walkout took place. Now, having a problem with her being the speaker is not a question of her competence. It's not a question of her being a woman, as I've heard some people say, it's a gender-based violence, and it's because she's a woman and you fight. If the roles were reversed, and Juliet was the prime minister, and Andrew was the speaker of the House, the same issue would have arisen. Looked like a conflict of interest. So for people to say it's a gender issue and it's bullying, and it's simple as saying that I'm not comfortable with this. It's not an attack on her. It's not a bullying thing. I mean, people are spinning it the way they want to spin it. Now, if you look, that when Andrew walked out and twisted his face and says, low, this is low, everybody on his side started saying the word low. So they followed the lead of Andrew and they followed him out. Was it pre-planned? Well, I'm not sure. Right? But they forced the lead of the position to have to finish his presentation outside in the street. Pretty interesting indeed. Now, I've heard many things said. I've heard Babsy Grange going on about it, saying it's against women and it's bullying and it's violence. Crap. I've heard the president of the Senate, Dogpaw father-in-law, and defender of many criminal elements in his legal profession, saying all sort of things as well, even comparing it to the situation with Andrew and Juliet to Michael Peart and his brother Dean Peart. How the heck? That is crap. Dean and Michael did not sleep in the same bed. The relationship between a wife and a husband ought to be very different from that of two brothers. So it's a stretch, Dogpaw's father-in-law. It's a stretch for you to equate the two things. It makes no sense to me whatsoever, right? The issue of the speaker not putting forward these reports that she needs to be tabled and finding all sorts of excuses and also that standing order to just to prevent them is the issue at hand. I don't think the opposition leader went out of his way to demean her in any way, shape, or form. He just says he didn't sit well. What's the big deal there? You see, I know a lot of persons are suggesting that the opposition should boycott the Prime Minister's presentation on Thursday. I am hoping that they don't. I'm hoping that they go into Parliament and sit there and listen to the Prime Minister as he spins and does whatever he does. Show him that enough bars and they can take and listen. Right? And then the whole issue of there not being a quorum and people walking out and then the piece of human filth called Warmington come back into once again displays boorish behavior. I mean, he still looks like he was picking a fight, like he wanted to fight somebody. I won't go into showing you the videos because I'm sure you all have seen the videos before. I just want to give my take on it. Right? Andrew knew that the issue of the illicit sex and his declarations to the Integrity Commission would have been mentioned by the leader of the opposition. And approaching that time, Andrew found a good reason to stage a walkout because he didn't want to sit there and listen to it. You can't hide this thing forever. Even if you gagged your members from speaking about it, gagged the Integrity Commission from mentioning who the six are, there is no way you can hide this forever. And I would not be surprised, as I said previously, if Andrew and his wife are both on the list. I would not be surprised in any way, shape, or form. I wouldn't, because they got to be something they got to be protected. And if the public and the opposition is calling for the support to be tabled, then just table it. There's nothing to hide. Just table it. But there is something there. And so to spin it into gender-based violence and attack on her, didn't attack her in any way, shape, or form. Didn't attack her. He just brings to a principle and says, and to say that they supported it previously. Now, traditionally, as I said, the government gets their selection. So to say that they supported it first, and so what if she's now not acting in how they hoped she would have acted? Not me, because I knew from she was deputy what she did then. I mean, I've seen her as attacking, I'm using the word attack here, a chairman of a committee of parliament, which I thought was demeaning to the gentleman. So, you see, all of this is stemming from the local government elections. Mark Golan, the leader of the PNP, is emboldened because of the results, and rightly so. And Andrew is not his usual cocky self. He didn't turn it on, as he said he was free to turn it on when he feels like turning it on. So he then staged a walkout of the parliament. It is not the right thing to have done. I mean, I've seen many oppositions walk out because they just don't have the numbers to bring their points across or to get their things taken seriously. But the government don't need to do that. Absolutely not. And so, let's see how this turns out on Thursday. I hope the opposition attends, and I want to listen carefully to how the Prime Minister spins his way out of this. Until next time, I want to thank you for watching. As always, is one love, enough manners, and enough respects. Blessings. Thanks for watching.